Okay, I think we're good. It's a mess too. I've been getting gear, going through papers. Everything's just strewn behind me. My headphones graveyard back there. Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. We are getting going. And double check I have everything I need. I think I do. I think we're good. I think. Oh, best song in the game. Right here. Here it is. Hey, Matt Callahan audio. Shagans. Oh, excuse me. Holy. Oh, Yanni, good to see ya. Natasha, get back to work. I saw you were breaking for real talk. Saw that. Let's do this. Alex, you get a lunch break. Yeah, you do. It's true. Bolt Wave. Equinox Fracture. Hello. We're celebrating this morning. You know that? It's true. It is true. And why? And why though? Hey, BAFTA noms are out. Plague Tale, Requiem, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Metal Hellsinger, Stray, and our little hero here. There you go. Pretty exciting. And further, look at this. Where is it? Where though? Where though? Did I miss it? Oh, best debut. Yeah, it's in there for there too. Best debut. I didn't see Cult of the Lamb got in there. That's great. Cult of the Lamb. Good job, all. And Tunic for best design. Stray is all over. Good job, Stray. All over. Music. Tunic. Life Formed getting some love. At last. I feel like folks have been sleeping on this soundtrack a bit. There's some crazy stuff in this soundtrack. Very solid. I'm really proud of what Life Formed accomplished with this project. Look at this. It's like 3 hours of music. Like, what? It's a long soundtrack. And with all the secret lyrics and stuff built in, and it's just solid. It's a solid soundtrack. So we'll see. I feel like the BAFTAs are kind of, as far as awards shows go, I feel like the BAFTAs are like a little more like artsy, you know? So maybe Tunic could take an audio thing for all the weird stuff we did. Who knows? I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, I heard that the Ragnarok team had like 72 people in the audio department alone. Like Tunic had like 4, right? Mostly 2. So how do you compare these projects? How though? Anyways, pretty exciting. Good stuff. I think it's the first time we went up for audio for a BAFTA. I'm pretty sure that's correct. Jeff was on stage at the BAFTAs years ago with Into the Breach. It won for Best Original Property. So we're certainly like along for the ride with that kind of nomination. being part of the full vision. But yes, it's not quite the same thing as being specifically recognized, right? So we're pretty excited about this. Pretty cool. And we managed to take Best Indie at the DICE Awards last Thursday. So hell yeah, let's go. Things going well. We'll see how the GDC various things go, IGF and GDCAs and so forth. Yeah. All right. Okay, so shall we begin to get into things? Shall we? I don't know if either of these people are here today. I'm not sure, because Nuno, I saw in my spreadsheet that we track all the Real Talk information, like the links and dates and everything, right? I saw that it said link TBD, and then in the Twitter DMs I had with Nuno Bento, it was like, yeah, sounds good, great, and then like we didn't ever follow up on what the link was, but then this link was in their Twitter bio, so here we are. I apologize for not following up with Nuno earlier. Perhaps I could have been like, hey, you're coming up. Just so you know. Reminder, I know we scheduled this like 3 months ago or something, but here it is. Perhaps I'll make that as part of the process from now on. Just like always check in, be like, hey, just so you know. Because otherwise we're looking through and sort of hoping for the best that we can do this without them here. And also, Myron, I think, hit us up through email. I think. Pretty sure. It's a Wix page. It's Wix. So we'll see. If you are here, Myron, if you are here, Nuno, please make yourself known. Please. Please. Anyway. Louis, Lisbon. Good to see you as well. After Touch Audio finally caught one of these. Well, this isn't say you're a first-time chatter though. So I think you've caught one before at some point, or you just went to our chat room when we were offline and just typed, "Wish I saw this live." I don't know. Shagans, celebrating. Thanks so much. Wonderful. Gotham, yo, good to see you. Sounds like Gotham. Adam, fingers crossed. Appreciate that. Thank you. Iskra Audio, good to see you. Iskra Audio, you're going to GDC, right? Didn't I get a thing from you saying GDC? Or am I making things up? Am I making things up again? Brandon. Brandon. Yeah, there you go. Did I accept? I think I did. Well, I have now. I just pressed it. Congratulations. Brandon Iskra is now a connection. Send a message. Nah, coming at you right now. I'm thrilled to have joined your professional network on LinkedIn. Okay. Yes, GDC is coming up. And if you are all there, we have... Let's see if I can find this easily. Can I find it easily? Oh my god, what's happening here? Can we find it easily is the question. I didn't prep this, I should have, sorry. Yeah, here it is. No problem. If you're... Oh my god. Weird zoom. It's fine. Yeah, if you're there, please, if you're at GDC, come to this spot on the 3rd floor of the Moscone. It's the west. It's Moscone West. So if you get to... If you're first time at GDC, there's like 2 main buildings, north and south, that are facing each other. And then the west is like over there. So north and south are like over here. If this is a map top down, right? This is west and then north south. So you walk into west, there's a bunch of escalators, you go to the top floor, or you can walk the stairs if you want, and we're right in the back corner. That's where we're planning to be. So please roll in. It's gonna be a very open book, just kind of mentorship roundtable thing. So if you have questions about contracts or biz dev at GDC or at home, or how to get paid, or what to get paid, or like Fmod stuff, or whatever, just hit us up. And it'll be myself, certainly, and probably Cole and Craig and Natasha, maybe? I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens there. But certainly me, and I'll be happy to shake some hands and see some people face to face, perhaps for the first time, or see some old friends again. It'll be a good time. Looking forward to it. We do it like every year at GDC, and we haven't been to GDC for years for obvious reasons. So we are thrilled. I'm thrilled to be doing it again. Yeah? It's gonna be good. Okay. And otherwise, I'm doing a talk on the Thursday. Here it is. On the Thursday at GDC, the Tunic audio talk is happening on Thursday at 4 p.m., 4 till 5 p.m. at GDC. And we'll very likely do some time afterwards too. It's always the case where people want to ask questions and talk more about the project or their own professional lives or ambitions or whatever. So we'll do a little cool down after that point too. I think the gang awards are that night as well. So it might be like a chill until 5:30 or until 6 or something, and then have a quick bite and get back for the awards show. So we'll see. It will be, as always, a breakneck speed, non-stop whirlwind of scheduled things the entire week. But looking forward to it, big time. Okay, so this is Real Talk, yes? We're looking at some game audio demo reel content from some up-and-comers, namely Nuno, Bento, and Myron. Oh, there's no name anywhere. Oh, down here. Just the copyright, that's it. Wow. Boston-based, but not your name. Anyways, Myron, Layese? Layese? I don't know, I'm not sure. Oh, these tunes are too intense, aren't they? This is an intense track. It's too intense for describing how Real Talk works. It's far too intense. Oh, this is better. I just feel a weight lift off my shoulders. Jesus, it's so stressful. We're looking at Nuno and Myron, and giving some hot tips. We're gonna tip them. Look at this. Tip me, it says, top right. Give some hot tips on how to increase their odds of getting interviews and jobs, gigs, etc. It's the idea. We're going to be focusing on these things down below: presentation, material selection, content quality, and distinction. The first, presentation. We're looking at the website on the whole. I'll zoom in a hair. It's for everyone at home. We're already zoomed to 150. That's probably good enough. So we're looking at the website, if it's easy to find stuff, if there is enough information, if there's too much information, things are focused in nicely, maybe there's some kind of general branding considerations going on, all that stuff. Rick, good to see you. Otherwise, for the reel, we're looking at, like, how long is this thing? How long is the reel? How does it flow? These are both 2 minutes long. Crazy. I always say that, like, the two reels we look at always have something in common. Like, something specific in common. They're both 2 minutes. Pretty long. We'll see what happens. So how long is it? Is it in that great 1 minute and something? 1:00, 1:09. Somewhere in that range is where I like to hang out personally, at least. I always feel like I'm happy to watch that full reel through, even if it's not, like, mind-blowing. If it's just a beginner kind of thing, then I'll be happy to, a new website and reel, holy! Oh my god, did I just miss it? Or did you just send it? Maybe I missed it entirely, it's possible. But good, I'm glad you're here. I apologize if I missed something entirely. Oh, you did, I fully missed this. Oh, 'cause I was away, that's why. I was fully away and didn't save this. This is 100% my fault. Sorry. 100%. My, oh my, here it is. Okay, there we go. No Wix site at the top. Let's go. Awesome. And the reel is now, let's see, 106. Yo! Let's go. Good stuff. Okay. Oh, it didn't. Oh, I see. It's like a pop-up thing. Interesting. Anyways, back to describing Reel Talk. So yes, we're looking at, in the reel, length and flow, transitions, information, lower thirds, bookends, all that stuff. Moving on to the second criteria, material selection, is the gist being, if we look at the various things within the reel, within their portfolios, what does just the things selected, what does that communicate about this person's past work history and their current skill sets and what they want to be doing one day? It could be, we don't even need to listen to this stuff. Just seeing what it is can offer certain implications that can help, just communicate more information in less time. That's the idea. Try to be nice and concise here, right? The third thing, content quality, just is it good? Is there room to improve in some area of balance or panorama or frequency range, dynamics, dimension, interest, anything? And if there are spaces to, or various specifics that we can focus in on and hope to level up next, I'm certainly happy to offer my own opinion. And there's some very talented folks in chat who would be happy to offer theirs too. I'm certain of this. And the last thing, distinction, is are you standing out in some positive way? Because a lot of people want these jobs, and it's real easy to just sort of fade into the background if your stuff is just good and not great, or if your page is kind of characterless, or lacks branding, or any kind of standout aspect whatsoever. Could be the site is cool, it could be your audio sounds amazing, could be your bio shows you're super active in the industry or community, could be any number of things that just say, oh, this person's gonna, just makes it involuntary that you're gonna stick in someone's memory, right? Just from something standing out in a positive way. So enough of that. Let's move on to actually looking at this stuff. Yes? I'm gonna pause this. Pause. So cool, by the way. This is just 3-hour video, fan video made by Radicoon, one of our wonderful players of Tunic. Super fan. So cool. All right. So Myron, you're here. Thank you so much for the new link. I like this one more already. It's great news. And Nuno. Who knows if Nuno's here or not? It's questionable. Maybe they'll roll in later on. We'll see. So let's do Myron first, with the hopes that our second person will roll in before we get to them. We'll see what happens. Myron, my oh my. It's very fun. I do like that your page now has your name on it. This is definitely an improvement on your Wix page. I kind of want to leave this open. And I'm curious what kind of things that you clearly, I think I send everyone the Reel Talk that Matthew Martinson of Clay Entertainment and myself did back in 2018. And it goes over all of these super common issues that we saw at the time. We had looked through like 120 reels at that point or something. I have no idea what the number is now. It's into the, I'm sure over 200, 300 even. But we just nailed down, or just offered some illumination into the various issues we always see, this very commonly. So one of those things is this. This site was designed with the Wix.com website builder. Create your website today. Start now. Not the best first impression, very top of the page. It stays there just always just sort of being like, hey, look at me. Not great. This is obviously just instantly so much better. Clearly. 2 minutes, 1 minute. Improvements have been made. Myron, I'm assuming you watched that talk, yes? It feels like you did. There's some clear improvements here made to the broad strokes right away. That's great. So, I'm Myron, and this is my work. Curating sights and sounds for those that care to listen. This is what you're here for, right? Just goes to your real, I guess. Oh, it's kind of cheeky. Okay. Yeah, it's like real and real. This is, I don't know. This feels like a little bit crazy. Also, there's a question mark and a period here. Just heads up. Yeah, I guess. It's like a little bit sassy. It is why people are here, but calling them out on it feels new. I've never seen that before. Might be fine. Up to you. About. Let's have a look. How do you say your last name, by the way? So I was looking for a video where you say it, but I haven't seen it. Is it Layese? Layese? Not sure. We'll see. Layese? 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 Layese. Myron Layese. Maybe. Is that right? Layese, like Layese. Okay, there you go. Layese. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Okay, Myron Layese. About shorter. Myron Layese, sound designer, programmer, and musician. Oh, musician. There's a I missing here. Musician. I'm Myron. Longer. I'm Myron, a sound enthusiast. My craft centers around the relations of digital and physical realities, utilizing sounds, visuals, and programming to convey my views. I grew up partially blind, so a lot of my early life was just noise and shadows. The lack of visuals, however, wasn't an impairment, but rather a medium for creativity. I filled in the gaps using sounds and tactile sensations as my muse. Now, I'm pursuing a Bachelor's of Arts in Computer Science at Harvard University and Electronic Production and Design at Berklee College of Music. Sick. I refined my palette. Is this the right spelling of palette? For sound design here, working within the VR scene. I found myself at home. The virtual world was closer to my childhood reality than reality itself. Currently, I'm working with MIT's Media and Nano Labs, designing specialized audio systems for 2 concurrent projects. 2 R's in concurrent. Yeah, a couple little typos there. 1 second. Palette, is it 1L 2 T's? I think that's the palette you're looking for, right? Like that? Or is it like your taste for something? In which case, it is... Oh my god. There's like several different palettes. Do you mean like ATE? Like your taste for something? PALATE? There's also PALLETTE, which is like a metal piece of armor. Yeah, here you go. Right? And there's like this one also. The palette. This is the worst. English is so dumb. Man, it's the worst. Anyway, yeah, so just make a choice of palette. A 3rd language, hell yeah. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I guess PALATE is the one you want, probably. Oh, also, this is so cool. What's happening here? This looks great. Amazing. This right away is just like, hey, look, I'm serious. Look at this cool thing I'm doing. Pretty neat, right? Awesome. Games I like. For Honor, Fez, Classic, Deep Rock Galactic, Warframe, Dead Space, Contact, Let's Hang. You can reach me on Instagram, GitHub, and LinkedIn. My email is also here for those that want it. Come say hello. Work and Real. Oh, there's... Oh, just the same links as before, right? Portfolio and Real. Let's glance portfolio first. I don't love how things start playing immediately, but I guess it's because it makes me turn the volume up, or like pause and do this, and then do this, and then play. It just feels like many steps. Not the end of the world, but also this is already zoomed in too, isn't it? Oh, it's not. My mistake. Sorry. I zoomed to the previous page. Okay. So Stage Fright, VR application built to combat performance anxiety. That's fun. Measures people's biometrics and adjusts the game in response, whether that be decreasing the amount of people in the crowd or just giving you positive affirmations that you're doing lovely. Note, still a work in progress. Currently using it for research at the MIT Immersion Lab. Awesome. Classic 3D game kit, of course. Yeah. Wise implementation. Okay. Yeah, got it. Emitters is 1M, 2Ts. Great. Super cool. AI synth. Undergrad thesis project. Using machine learning models from Magenta to create music in response to what you do. Oh, this is the background. I've seen this before. It's the background of your page. All this looks super interesting. It seems like what you're doing is pretty compelling. Awesome. VR concert space made at Berkeley. A Warframe trailer redesign. I just love this game to a fault. That's great. Back, please. I keep clicking outside the thing. And Project Overdrive. Riot Games sound test. Yeah, classic. Mulan. Okay, this is the first thing that's a bit out of place. I wonder if this is something you did in school or you just did it for fun. Hard to say. Ambient sounds, Philo, Sound Synth Island. Like everything here is very games focused, and then like Mulan is like, hey, me too. It's kind of this stands out as being kind of strange. Excuse me. You can click the links for more details on things. Can I? What links? Oh, like this. Oh, I fully didn't even see these as links. But I guess that makes sense that, yeah, if I was digging deeper, I'm sure I'd find that. I think I just saw like this underline and then saw this as underline. I feel like this could easily be mistaken as just an underline for a title. And maybe there's room for putting a link on like this instead. Because people will, if they're interested, they'll read the text and then they'll stumble across an underlined bit of the description, and then that will be very obviously a link. I mean, maybe I'm kind of playtesting your website right now, right? I didn't at all just see this link myself. I may stumble upon it, maybe, but it might be the kind of thing where, like in video game playtesting, if we're at say, let me think. Like the first chapter of Celeste, the first time we showed Celeste at PAX, the first chapter, there is a fork in the road halfway through the chapter. And if you go to the right, you carry on towards the end of the chapter. And the left goes to like a little side area where you can meet Theo, right? And on the first day of PAX, we were witnessing that like 10% of players were seeing Theo. And Maddie, the lead developer, wanted that number to be more like 50. So some changes were made. And you keep watching, and people as they play the game, yeah, now like 50% see Theo with a small change that was made. So that kind of thing, it's like, well, if it's the kind of thing we want every player to see, then we'd want to make some changes to like ensure that no one's missing this, right? So in this case, it might be that some percentage of visitors to your page, some percentage might see that, oh, this is a link. But whereas, I should say, some percentage of those who take an interest in this thing, right? If they watch it like, oh, this is awesome, I want to learn more. Or just, this is awesome, period. Then you say, do they know there's a link to the thing here? And if it's here, I would argue it's really, really obviously a link, whereas this is less so. So it's up to you. But I think that I would probably recommend putting it somewhere where it's a little more clear to see, like it's unmissable, you know? And especially because some of them have links and some don't, like you're saying. If like this here was the link, you know? Or whatever, just the thing. Or 3D Game Kit, or whatever. Your call. Let's watch your freaking reel, though, yes? I'm going to turn off my side chain somewhere. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. Side chain off. Out of politeness to you. 106. I'm thrilled. Sound on, please. And 3, 2, 1, and go. Nice. Pretty cool. So a little, a little intense in there for a bit. Very nice. Thank you for the claps in the chat. Merci, Valentin. Okay, let's talk about some presentation stuff. 106 is a lovely length. I had no problem watching all that. If this exact reel were, say, 204, in fact, do you mind? I'm really curious to watch your previous reel, because 204 is just going to be, you know? You'll feel the difference for sure. I'm gonna go sidechain too, sorry. I'm less concerned with this reel, so just watch it for fun. Whoa! Right, so there's that same shot. So right now we're a minute in. That's a minute, right? And now we change over. It's like the new reel, we've seen so much more about you in that first minute compared to this one. Just so much more. It's not just a matter of like, oh, it's possible that the viewer may get bored and skip ahead. It's not just that. It's like, how are you best utilizing that minute of time to communicate the most information, the most relevant information. It's great. Really good. Okay, so let's talk about some presentation stuff. Length is awesome, like I was saying. Great intro, love it. So one thing is that we had this title here. It's fine. It fades pretty promptly, and then it's gone. And in general, I would recommend either just keeping it visible the entire time for the entire video, or using the Zvi-Sherman method of bringing it to like this level or even less, where it's just a bit, maybe like this or a bit before this, just where it's still readable, but you're kind of, I mean, I know why you're fading it out. You're trying to make room for the shot, like let the viewer just get immersed into your work, of course. Doing this still kind of allows for that. It directs the viewer's attention. It's like fade out. Oh, there's a show happening, right? We watch the show, but it still allows the person, if maybe they missed something in the text, they go, what was this again? They can glance back down and the info's right there for them right away. Big recommend. It's a very easy change to make to your reel, and there's literally no downside. You might as well do it. Just fade to like 25% opacity or something like that. Whatever looks good, and just leave it there. And then next one comes in, next project, you fade back up again, boom. And that directs the viewer's eye. What's this new thing? Dead Space 2, got it. And then fade to 25%, whatever. Repeat ad nauseum, right? You're good to go. So I do that for sure. The transitional moments, where are they? Screen shake, pretty cool, look at that. Kaboom. Boom. Nice moment, pretty cool. Nice transition. Next up we have what? We have Dying Light. So this transition, I was like, oh, okay, whoa. Because we have this monstrous scream, right? Roar, and then change, and then roar again. I don't know if that was your intention to kind of have this like relationship between the two pieces back to back, but the scream into the scream was a little bit crazy. It's your call, but it made me kind of go like, oh, okay, we're still screaming. Got it. And then moving on, next project is Elden Ring. And this is nice and quiet. Stairs, some Foley, and now we're walking. So no special transition there. That's fine. So there is some attention given to the moment of transition, it seems, which is great. It can always push up further, but pretty good on the whole. Very nice. I will say too that the flow is like pretty good. The first change happens where, like 20 seconds in or so. Well, no, earlier than that. This is Dead Space. 13 seconds in, no problem. So 13 seconds, and then what, like 28? 30? Okay, 32. So a little more the second clip. Dying Light goes a little while too. Up to what, like 52-ish. So 4 pieces in total. Cool. And last one's pretty quick, but not bad. Totally fine. There's definitely some good pieces in there that kind of show a bit of a like a mini story. Like something happens in a row, as opposed to what we see sometimes where there is like, I mean, like your Riot Games test, right? Where it's this standalone ability, action, magic spell, something, like one gunshot, whatever. And it's not, while it might be a decent and helpful part of the whole picture of what skills you might have and what you could bring to the table, having a full story with like those things in there satisfies that same checkbox while also accomplishing much more. So in general, I almost always push for the idea of like, yeah, do stuff with gameplay or with redesigns or cinematic content, whatever. It's just going to be better than having those things in isolation. Of course, if a team is asking for something in isolation, you're going to do it. But in terms of a reel, it's just better to have a larger complete piece. Okay, so let's talk about some. Well, I should say first, in terms of the pieces you've chosen for material selection. Hey, George Liu, you're here live. Congratulations. Happy to have you. In terms of the materials here, we got AAA. From as AAA as. Yeah, so pretty large studio things. You want a studio gig, it would seem, and your programming background is going to help you for sure in that regard. That's fantastic. So, let's talk about some content quality stuff. This first one, the very first thing that I acknowledged in this piece, here, press play. So, this explosion, couple things here. So, there's one thing that I wouldn't say is wrong, but is an option I'd like just to discuss with just open forum with the chat here. There's something I like to do now and again in my own design, where if something is far away-ish, and if the distance is kind of part of that, of the story being told, it can be fun to experiment with actually delay of sound, where sound takes some time to get to the listener. The listener is the camera in this case, right? We're just right in the scene. Boom, we're seeing this. So maybe it could actually be interesting to have like an explosion and have that briefly offset. For example, in Tunic, there is a moment where you go into the quarry and you activate a thing and a door opens up and it's a bit like kind of like it recedes briefly and then like lights up and all blasts away and opens up. That big, it's a big, you see it. So you have that brief moment in time, and it helps just illustrate this idea of, oh, we're in a vast space, and so far in the game it's mostly been like smaller rooms or confined areas, but now no, it's like way the hell over there. So that's an option. The second thing is if we press play, and in fact if we just don't watch this for a second, if we just don't watch the video and listen to the explosion, 3, 2, 1, and go. In general, I would call that explosion pretty generalized, pretty this, you know? If we do a classic, oh please, not MS, just paint. There it is. Paint in 3D, holy. In general, I would say that sound is something like this shape, you know? A little bit of that. Is that fair to say? Right? There's a little bit more going on. It's like maybe like this. Like that, you know? A little more. There's like multi-stage stuff happening a little bit. But you could explore, for example, having it shaped more like this or something, where you have more things going over time, right? And then in that case, you've got more of a contoured story being told. We have a little Christmas tree here on the side. So instead of and we're down, less of that and more of what's specifically happening over time here, you know? Like really get into the details of what's going on. So if we press play, we have the first, oh, it's even early too, that hit. So the previous note, as far as waiting to hear the sound, we're actually hearing that explosion before it happens. Right, it's there. Boom. So we have the explosion. This is the onset, yeah? The very first thing we're seeing. From there, what happens? It's like, oh no, and it drifts backwards and smokes something behind it. Explosion's growing, stuff flying off of it. Got it? So this has now happened. Bam. And then what? And then, oh no, big spins. Oh no, the third one got hit too. Holy. 3 birds, 1 stone. So we have this like 1, 2, 3 thing happening. At the very least, the 1, 2, 3 are the big moments, right? First guy, second guy, third guy. If we listen to it, like we super don't hear 1, 2, 3 in that. It's like, right? So it's easy to look at a redesign like this and be like, okay, cool. The timeline is covered. We have sound for the thing happening. And while that may be true, there's probably room yet to kind of zoom in on the moment to moment of it and say, are we actually like illustrating what is going on here and why it's important? So, and as well, I want to illustrate one other small thing. This here, this is a larger consideration. It's like this shape and then going up. This moment right here, we have like bam, bam. It's like, right? You have this like kind of double transient possibility where, yes, we have this tiny explosion but then it grows, right? Like boom, boom. It's like 1, 2. The idea that like what happened really, if you're standing there or in this ship or whatever, and the thing explodes, it's having repercussions, consequences elsewhere. Explodes, hits other systems, which then explode also. We can have this like multi-stage explosion even before the second guy, the third guy gets involved in the action, right? So it might be a little more interesting than just, and we're done. Okay? Yeah, there's a lot of cool activity happening here. Like there's like a spinning, this guy here goes spinning away. Right? We kind of hear like a kind of in the right channel, but there's probably more room to have like the engine freaking out. So, and that's also kind of, it's the main thing happening visually for a little bit. Like it's the most active. These two are drifting. This one's like freaking out, right? So there may be room in the mix to like kind of bring that to the forefront briefly with like some engine, like some wheezing, some screaming of the engine, who knows? And then, but now that's no longer important. It's off screen. And then perhaps we drop that out, fade it pretty aggressively to make space for, yes, this thing, which is obviously becoming the main event. We come in here, bring it up the fire as it gets closer to us. And we have like a big whoa up and down, like really hard crush that, hard squash, make it nice and loud as it zooms overhead. Some distortion, who knows? It's the entire screen right here, right? It's still pretty centered though. We have a lot more room to have us be like enveloped by the sound. If that makes sense. We kind of have it like in the center. It's like, but really, if it's right above us and taking up the entire screen, there's room to have more width there, and it would help to even like have the fire as part of that, and like the part behind it as another part of it, like the engine's in the back. You can have like different kind of, as it goes by you, you know, like this sound, then this, then this, then this, right? There's room there too. Yanni, in my opinion, if there was less reverb on the explosion, it would allow for some punchier transients to get some more details through. Absolutely. Totally. Yeah, it's always a matter of kind of picking and choosing your heroes, you know? Yeah, just listen to the panning. Check it out. I'm going to hide this again. So you can't watch it. Just trust your ears only. Just where is the sound? Stereo field wise. Left to right. It's pretty here the entire time. There is some over, I guess, that side, sorry, the camera in the right channel, but not much. It's mostly centered. So having more stereo considerations will allow more details too. There's a lot more space to kind of bring some more energy into that shot for sure. George, I recall watching a video by Riot's sound designers. They talked about a soundtrack having a lifespan. First the initial hit, then they sustain that sound like reverb, and the release or decay of that sound. I definitely don't explain the right way. There's something that came back to me during this segment, Kevin. Yeah, you're talking about the envelope. That's exactly what you're talking about. And part of that, the idea that sounds have a beginning, a middle, and an end, it's kind of the idea, right? So you have not just doo, and we're done. We have this like beginning, what's happening in the middle, and like how long it's take to come off at the end, right? Is it like this, or is it like boom, big, or is it like big and stays large and goes down, or is it like this going on, right? There's a lot of options here, for sure. But moving on. So this segment is really chock full of action. There's a lot going on, a whole lot going on. And you've got some good moments here and there where you're kind of following the cinematography and focusing in on highlighting in audio what's happening visually. The camera's like, look at this thing, chomp chomp. So you're like, oh, listen to this thing, chomp chomp, right? You have this kind of like one-to-one happening with it. There's probably some more room yet to take what you've designed and pull it just down in the mix and make room for the details of the moment to moment. Because the nonstop screaming and stuff and debris scattering and blasts and so forth, that's all stuff that's probably relevant to the mix, or relevant to the story, I should say, and therefore should be in the mix. But the thing with loud stuff like that, say monstrous roars or big explosions or like rumbling of a ship or whatever, what that can do is have the similar effect to this explosion, where it's like, oh, the mix is full, and therefore this mix is energetic and it's done. There is room to say, okay, it can probably be in there, but we'll pull it back, maybe like EQ some stuff here and there to make room for other things, who knows, but that allows you to give more life and more just dig into these storytelling moments over time. It's like we have this big yell and then big smack there. Stuff's all falling down, right? Like it's this like 5-second period is mostly a monster roar, you know? There's some bam, bam, bash, bash. The monster roar is cool. Yes, it's very cool, George. I think I like the monster roar. I'm so bad at monstrous vocalizations. I'm having a good time with it, for sure. It's a nice little roar. But there's so much more happening here. I mean, what happens? We have a big swing. Boom, smacks a thing. Stuff's falling down. Oh my god, so much is falling down. Big, like, chunk, big stab, try and find him. Oh my god, got him. What's his name again? Isaac, is that right? Gets him. And now, like, what happened there? Big bash, hanging, shooting. Big lift, big smack. Big shot. So there's like, there is room to pull in what is actually happening, because it's so chaotic that it becomes kind of a larger role in sound design to help actually support what's going on. So we have that big bash, we have stuff falling down around us. When you bring those things to the front of the mix, it can help the viewer, player, just keep up with what's actually happening in the scene. And yeah, here they're kind of there. It's probably even, I'd suspect there's probably more design here than I am even acknowledging, because the roar and stuff is so loud that it's just masking the other design I suspect you've already done. That's my suspicion. It's possible. So, yeah, a similar note to the explosion stuff. Just pull stuff back. In this case, the roar being nonstop and frightening, terrifying, is probably relevant. Sure, keep it in there, but pull it back. It's the kind of thing where we establish this roar up front. We know the roar is happening. We understand the threat and the risk involved here. We get it. We can then pull it back in the mix. The player no longer needs to be constantly reminded of this danger and risk to their life. They can have things at the front that are like the environmental activities. So like the stuff falling down around them, or like the beam being smashed out, or whatever, right? The stabbing of this you know, of these tendrils or mandibles or whatever. There's a lot more we can like kind of bring to the front to tell the player or the viewer, like, this is happening, now this, without saying, because right now the mix is saying monster is screaming. that's the story, right? There's not much else happening besides that in the mix. So going in, get into here. See, this moment here, we're going through chomp chomp. So you get more into that space there, and it improves as a result. We're not just like having a scream nonstop. It's a similar thing here, mind you, where like in this moment, right before the transition, we're hearing mostly monster roar reverb. Like there. But really, there's a lot more happening. Like stuff is still, we're still in this space, like the environment, the ambience of this space we should hear. Maybe like the physicality of what's going on here. Like some stuff spraying out, right? There's probably more room for that too. And that sound it's also very wide. It's I feel like it's a little, it could be more locked into the creature itself. It feels a little bit generalized, like, oh, a scream is happening and it's all around us. We're in a tight space. It's reverberant. If we tighten that up in terms of, again, stereo field stuff, and we have, oh, it's coming from there with some reverb on it as well. But we also have the mix filling out things like the ambient space and the spraying of the guts or whatever. There is, you're just going to sell the scene so much more successfully, so much more effectively, because we'll believe that we're there because we have all these things happening, and that's what it would sound like perhaps if we were standing right there, right? You do have this kind of cinematic moment too. Is it here? Yeah. So it's all like kind of goes dull. Sure. And ka-chuk. So it's tricky because this is very subjective. The boom goes dull, I guess, because we're smacked on the ground or on a pipe or something like that. Is that why we're hearing this? Well, bam! Ow! It hurts. Flash of red, and then we have this. Everything's dulled down, and then ka-chik. But the ka-chik isn't actually dulled down, also. So it feels like there's this disconnect of what we're seeing and what we're hearing, or what actually happened. And the auditory results of that, like the consequences, is, oh, everything's dulled, but this thing isn't. But the thing we're hearing is in the environment. It's not like it's in our head or something like that. We're not thinking something. So it's, and if we're hearing that, then why are we hearing nothing else? And then suddenly that shot happens. Boom. And the roar happens kind of first in this case. It feels like there's a lot more room to make some active decisions moment to moment about what's actually happening in the story and bringing that to the front. So in this case, the scream happens here. Like there, it's already happening. And then some big blast, right? So what was the blast? Was it a gunshot? Did we Starship Troopers like a grenade into the guts of the thing and it blew up? There's like, if someone's watching this through for the very first time in their life and they don't know what's happening, it's understandable because it's chaotic and the camera view is crazy and stuff, right? So in this case, having that like a gunshot here, ka-chik, we aim and fire, and oh no, blast, spew. That fire has got to be at the front of the mix. Like it's got to be the number one thing we're hearing in that moment in time. But because the roar is so broadband, it's like lows to highs and everything in between, that gunshot's almost like not there. With underneath it. But like it's hard for me to even pull out a gunshot there, you know? So it feels like you put a lot of work into this scream and it sounds great. And you're enthusiastic to like show off this scream you made, right? But that's worthwhile for sure. Just be aware you also need to be aware of whether having that at the front is obscuring the story. So you just try to have a little more one-to-one with what's actually happening. Okay, and yeah, this scream, back-to-back scream. Yeah, Yanni, exactly. Like, it's not a matter of mixing here, probably. It's like delaying the scream. So you have this like 1-2 punch of like the gunshot and the result. It could even be the monster's vocalizations are complex, and some are screaming, and some are like hissing, some are like kind of like a lower or whatever, like lower kind of growly stuff. There's So it could start with like a, but before it gets loud, gunshot over top of the quiet monster vocalizations. And then gunshot happens, scream, because it's, oh my God, it hurts so much, right? There's various solutions here, and it's not like one is the absolute best option. It's a creative endeavor, right? Just do whatever you want. But the biggest thing is just trying to check these boxes saying, yes, this is happening, front of the mix. This is happening, front of the mix, etc. Yeah, there's certainly room to bring some things to the front, for sure. Next scream. So this is also kind of generalized. Like this moment here, big scream. It's, if I close my eyes, it's just kind of like a scream in a big reverby space. I don't like, same thing with this. Monster vocalizations are can be complex. There's different like movement to it. It's not just roar, we're done. And that's kind of what's happening here. It's like one big ass roar. But if we watch it and kill the audio, what's actually happening here? It's like we rise up, and for the first moment, it doesn't really seem like anything is happening. They're just like doing this. Right? Just like rising up. And maybe there is already some vocalization happening here, but it's not the peak. There's the peak happens like there. Rah! Mouth parts aplenty, and then like head shake and stuff. So there's probably more room to further lock in the, like you're saying, George, like the envelope over time, the volume and like the activity intensity over time to what's actually happening in terms of this character, right? It's like rise up and rah, like rah, right? We have a rah. It's just rising and boom. Whereas in the sound we have instead just scream. And we actually even see it before we. Is this like a feature of? It's not even me. Like this is. So we're hearing it before we even see the guy, which is fine. You know, do that J cut so we hear the shot before we see it. But it's so intense, and it feels more like a scream overlaid on zombie footage, as opposed to we are hearing this zombie. You know, it feels a bit kind of misrepresented. Again, like cool scream, but I don't feel it. It's quite matching the intensity of what we're seeing here. If the goal is to terrify and so forth, then great. But we're seeing this, so there's for sure some room to like I was saying, lock it in to the details of what we're seeing. Let's keep going. Yeah, cool gameplay Foley. Very nice. Is it? I feel like the entire timeline's like a bit early. Is this an export thing? Because even this blast here is like the same thing, right? It's like a full half second early. I don't know. Myron, maybe look into that, because it feels like the explosion on this thing was early, and the scream was early, and this was early. So it might just be something needs to shift on the entire timeline. Or some export issue. I don't know. Something's going on there for sure. I don't think it's me. So one thing here is there's no ambience. Oh, did he close the door on the zombie? I don't even know. I don't know that I even acknowledged what happened here. Like, in this shot. Oh, I see. We peeked through a thing. I didn't even realize that. So that's all. I guess furthermore, thank you, Shagans. Exactly. Sean, appreciate it. Like, this moment. And panning there too. You know, the stereo field is your friend. It can help you tell a story so effectively. And in this case, we're looking right at him. Like, he's right in front of us. If we are to believe we are peeking through this like opening in a door or a fence or something like that, then this guy's right in front of us, but we're hearing it all around us. And it stays all around us. And we're not even in a reverberant space. We're like outside on a shore or something, right? Like, what is this? There's like a cliff here, some palm trees. There's water down below, I'm not sure. But we're outside. So we're hearing the scream all around us. And it kind of, again, I've been kind of hinting at it this whole time, Myron, but like, I would encourage you to close your eyes and listen to your sound design frequently and ask yourself honestly if you're accurately representing the storyline, the space you are in, the positioning of things in the space, all these things. Because in this case, what I'm hearing, if you hide it again, right? If we'll play it one more time here. From like here-ish. 3, 2, 1, and... It kind of sounds like we're in like a warehouse or something, and something screamed far away, and it's just all around us. The sound is reverbing all around the space, just all around us. As opposed to, it's there. It's right in front of us, and it's only right in front of us. And maybe there's a bit of a verb because it's like echoing off some cliff walls or buildings or something. But it's not going to be like... It's like long, multi-second reverb tail, you know? Okay, moving on. This last piece looks great. I would recommend maybe having some ambience in there too. Like that environment element. Because right here, there's nothing. And it can help give things a home if we have that ambient space too. Is it raining here? You know? Yeah, cool stuff. This is the most in isolation thing in the reel. It's very this, but nice little sequence. It's cool. Good little character action. And there's a bit of Foley at the end, but not much. It's mostly the things fading out, you know? It feels like this end card, it's like, boom, hard cut, audio, right? Hard cut. But it feels like the audio portion of your reel beforehand, from this explosion coming down, the whole thing is just like coming down for a landing. But really, if we were watching this clip in the game, like in gameplay, the analogy here is like someone just pulled the plug on the TV or on the console or whatever, right? It's like play, 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 and boom, off, right? But if that were the case, we'd have audio like right to the end and then hard cut. But we're not hearing that. We're hearing like this fade down to nothing. So it feels a little like we're ending it on like a weaker note, you know? Anyway. I'm talking about your stuff for way too long here, Myron. So the time is 1:13. Jesus. We got in deep on details there. Okay, so distinction. Are you standing out? I think you're standing out, totally. You have a lot of really fun stuff in here. I want to learn more about all of your projects. The majority, at least. I can't right now. I'm gonna leave your window open though, and I do want to see this when I have some time. This is all... I take it back regarding the videos playing. Maybe it could be like there are GIFs playing and then you click and it becomes a video. This is annoying to me, but I don't know, not a big deal, I guess. Not a big deal. Yeah, I think you're standing out. I think that your design, like your sound design, it sounds junior, certainly. But it's really clear to see that you're invested in this stuff. And the kind of things that we're talking about as far as details go and storytelling and supporting, environmental spaces and all these things, that stuff can all be taught and you can hone those skills over time. You have a clear passion for the work, though, which is very, very nice to see. And this page says it's so much more than this does, just right off the bat. So good on you. Really solid. Yeah, solid. Really fun to watch your stuff. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Really fun. If you have any further questions and stuff, feel free to follow up an email. I'll see it this time and I'll reply at some point. Really great. Okay, Nuno. If Nuno's here. I'm taking slide. It's like I'm in 15 minutes left to go over Nuno's stuff. Kevin, come on, man. 2 minutes. Let's glance through. Sound designer, Foley artist, sound artist, question mark? That's a questionable thing to have there. Why question mark? Are you not truly an artist? Who's to say? Oh, you're here. What's up? Nuno, Bento, Foley. Good to see you. I'll go longer than just 15 minutes. I'll do like half an hour or something. Who am I? I'm curious. Where's it go? Oh, who am I? There it is. Nuno Bento, Foley artist. Yo, look at this. Holding something important. From Lisbon, Portugal. I've been working since 2011. This is a long bio, jeez. I've been working since 2011. I had just finished a high school degree on music production in Lisbon and went into an internship at a local music recording studio that summer. Didn't get super good grades at all. Probably finished with an average of 13 of 20, I think. That's a weird thing to put in your bio. Working in the studio in those was fun, but harsh. The place doubled as a live sound company, and a lot of what I ended up doing was live sound for theater and other shows. I had to learn to help both the house producer and the team going out for these live gigs. This internship was part of the music production degree, and as soon as it ended, I had no idea what to do. Okay, I dreamt that I'd be a philosophy teacher, and that was my main goal: ethics, epistemology, and political science. Okay, that didn't happen. I had to start working as soon as possible, and an alternative was doing a 8-month sound design course and pay for it either by working for the school or paying it out later. I thought this would probably get me a job sooner rather than later, and it did. By January 2012, I had started working as an ADR/dubbing engineer in the studio where everything Disney was dubbed. Nice. That sounded pretty fun to me. I wanted more creative work, but I was able to pay for the course and start bringing money home. Around 2013, I'm reading the whole thing, you know. If it's painful, then take notes. I'm reading the whole thing. Around 2013, I was lucky enough to have an ex-teacher from both music and sound design courses asking me for help doing dialogue editing and backgrounds for a small documentary. I accepted without having any idea what these roles meant, and worked for a weekend in this incredible place called Loudness Films. Somehow, it went well enough that I was asked to... You sound so doubtful of your own abilities. What's going on here, Nuno? Talk yourself up. There's nowhere better to do it than in your own bio. Somehow it went well. I was asked to come back and meet the owners. They had just started building an awesome Foley stage and asked me if I'd be interested in trying it out once it's done in a few months. Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of like weird commas in here, but that's okay. I started working freelance for the ADR studio and got the email saying that the studio was done, and they had invited a Foley artist from Belgrade to come and give her opinion on the place as she worked on a Portuguese film. I was able to spend about a month with them. Alexandra Stojanovic and Vladan Nedeljkov. Sorry for those. I still give them the credit for making me able to start my career, then vouched for me after the film was done, and a few months later, I was the in-house Foley artist at Loudness Films. While I was there, okay, there's the bottom. while I was there, I had to learn a bunch of things as quickly as possible. I didn't really know Pro Tools. School and studios were Cubase and Nuendo. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to perform Foley. Didn't know much of anything at all. In all honesty, I spent a lot of time saying, yes, of course, and speeding off to the bathroom to quickly research the internet. Search the internet for the terms I was just told about. Nuno, stop. Stop talking yourself down so much. I was absolutely in love with everything during those first 2 to 3 years. I learned how to edit, record, and perform Foley, edit dialogue, create backgrounds and effects, even got to do music. But I quickly grew overwhelmed with the amount of different roles I had been expected to perform in, going from Foley to engineering, ADR sessions, and back to Foley, only to stop and design sound for a commercial in the same day. I left in January of 2019, 7 years, and started 6 years, 2013, and started working with a client that I had been working with for a year. Roland Weiss? Is it Weiss? I'm not sure. I know someone named Heiss. It's AJS. Almost exclusively on Foley, and they were cool projects too. Okay, the last 3 years were a joint effort to build something. There will be a quiz. The last 3 years were a joint effort to build something that we could use for Foley, sound design, and editing. I've probably learned as much, if not more, in the last few years as I did in over 4 years with Loudness Films. I had more opportunities to experiment, grow a team that I taught, and have more control over how things were made. In the back of my mind, though, what I really wanted was games. And it had been for quite a long time. So, we're into the game stuff. Here it is, at last. There it is. So, without much of a plan, I quit on October of 2022, very recently, to pursue opportunities in games, learning to work freelance, and apply for sound design positions in studios as soon as I catch them. No period. Back in 2012, I was already trying to pitch my own design documents with mock-ups of UI, exploration, combat systems, I was learning Game Maker, fiddling around with Fmod, and trying to make my tools for sound design around interactivity and randomization. Long sentence. Using tools like Plogue's Bidule, I don't know that one. Audio Mulch, been a long time since I heard that one. VCF rack, modulation of plugins on Ableton, ... Even tried to design car engines on Wise so I wouldn't have to cut them into the film. That's fun. It didn't go well though. Oh, Nuno, stop saying you're bad at your job. In 2020, my brother and I released a game on Steam, great, called Building 847. This should be a link, yo. Make that a link so I can click on it right now. He did all the work on Unity, capital U, while I was in charge of music and sound design. It sold something AAA. Something AAA? What's that mean? It sold something AAA, like 200 copies. This feels like it's a typo. Just shouldn't be there. It sold something like 200 copies. We got pizza. It's cute. It's common for first releases. Right now, we're both working on the next release, an immersive, melee-based RPG inspired by immersive sims like Deus Ex. More so the Square Enix ones. And Dishonored, with sprinkles of Fallout's humor and dialogue choices. I do love talking about sound my whole life. I'm up for saying hi and talking about whatever on my social media accounts. Great. This is so long, you know. That was like 10 minutes of reading. Oh, AAA numbers? Oh, I understand. It's like sarcastic. Maybe. Maybe, John? Okay. Nuno. I'm half expecting to go to your work page. Like, look at all this shit. I don't swear on Real Talk very often, but look at this shit. You said so many bad things about yourself, but like, what's happening here, you know? These are at odds. Okay. Also, what the hell? Free solo? What an amazing project to have worked on. Also, The Rescue. I love both those docs so much. The Rescue is insane. I was doing laundry, like folding laundry while watching The Rescue, and I had to stop because it was just too riveting. I couldn't fold a shirt at the same time. I had to like use my entire body to watch this movie. It's crazy. You gotta talk yourself up, Nuno. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to do that. This is where you do it. Be like, here is the hard work I put in, and here are the results. Do that. You know? You got to do it. Don't be afraid. No one's going to be like, ugh, this person thinks highly of themselves, talking about themselves. My God. My God. All right. Well, tip me. Tip me is weird. I've never seen tip me on a page in my life. Why not a little expression of thanks in the only way our failing capitalism allows? I've never seen the buy me a coffee on a page like this. It's like, I don't know about that. I understand the spirit of it, but on a professional page, it's like, hey, I need money, so give it please. Just feels a little out of place. But I'll leave it to you. It's your decision. Home. Here's our show reel. Here it is, 2 minutes long. It's a bit long, but that's fine. Work, games. Here's the building for 847. There it is. Experiments, other projects, thoughts, photography, drawing, and painting. So this stuff can probably not be here. We've had a variety of. In the past, I have seen, I'll speak for myself, I have seen a variety of pages that have things like links to photography. The most common split of work is games and film. That's we see that like relatively frequently. As far as when we see things, there are splits of attention at all, or splits of disciplines or professional lives or whatever. You'll see film audio and game audio on the same page. And my general recommendation, or suggestion, we'll say, is to have a page that you link potential game clients to that is solely focused on games. Maybe the bio is written to focus on games. It's like a different bio than your film page. You link to film people. If you do want to work on both things, have a film page with a bio that is written for a film reader. You cater. The goal, the purpose of doing this is to cater those pages to the kinds of people that you'll be sending to that page. It's unlikely that people will stumble into your page cold, having no idea who you are. It's pretty unlikely. They're more likely going to stumble in based on a Twitter thread or DM where you're interacting. Maybe you've met them at an event sometime, or you've emailed them out of the blue or something. They're going to your stuff because they have been made aware of your existence, right? And it's even more likely they've been made aware of your existence through some kind of context relevant to their professional ambitions, aspirations. And if their professional aspirations are in film, you don't need to waste their time with all your games stuff, and vice versa. You want to just be courteous and concise and say, hey, you're here for this reason. The whole Myron thing, right? That's why you're here, right? Do that. But do it for film and do it for audio, or do it for games. Moving on, drawing and painting. This is, good on you for being a multifaceted individual, having a variety of interests and hobbies. That's great. But in the interest of focusing in to the reason that someone might be on your page, having things like your photography might not be necessary or like even valuable in any way. I would argue that, I'll tell you that when you apply for some gig, and again, it depends what you want to do too. If you want to just make your own stuff with your brother for your whole life, that's a valid option. You can totally do that. In which case, who cares if someone doesn't like or doesn't care that you have photography on your page? This doesn't matter. So it comes down to your own personal goals. If you're applying, en masse to AAA studios trying to get game or gigs in game audio, then yes, I would recommend you refine your page down to the minimal, real focused, beefy stuff, right? You want to have, this is my reel, this is my heavily games focused bio, this is my games focused portfolio, and here are my other projects that are kind of cool and audio related, but like not maybe games specifically. Like this is at most what you need and probably should have. And the reason being is they are getting hundreds of applications for any given gig. So this stuff is just taking up space and distracting from the purpose of like why they're on your page in the first place. This kind of thing, if you make it through the door and make friends with the interviewing team in some way or whatever, yeah, great to share that at some point. Like, what else are you into? Photography, awesome. Tell me about that, right? That's cool. But having it up front on the main page when they scroll down, it's like, it's questionable whether that needs to be there or not. Again, it's your call. If it's super important to you and it's like central to your identity, then by all means keep it up there. It just comes down to focusing people's attention on the reason that they're there, and the reason they're there is to identify if you are a good fit for this audio gig. That's the reason. Your cool photos, again, great. It's awesome that you're doing that, but it's not going to get you hired for an audio gig, you know? So it just comes down to where your priorities are. That's it. So let's go to Vimeo and go full screen. 204 is long. It's approximately double the length it probably should be, in my opinion. We'll watch it through. Again, I'm looking at this from a game standpoint. I have no idea if this is going to have film stuff in there. I don't know what to expect. Based on your bio and stuff, I have no idea. I've never seen this before. So we'll have a look through. We'll watch the whole thing. But if I find my attention is drifting, I will pause and I'll let you know at that point. We'll see what happens. Okay, 3, 2, 1, and play. Oh, something just fell off the back of my speaker, and it was the envelope from the DICE Awards. Isn't that fun? Independent. And the winner is Tunic. I'll just put this over here. That's me just showing off. I apologize. I was like, what just fell there? Back to the start. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, my attention is officially drifting. It already had a few seconds ago, and then I realized my brain left my body for a second, was like, Kevin, you're drifting. So it took me a few seconds to realize it. But probably around here, I was starting to lose some attention. But we'll carry on. And I'll answer your question in a second. Your tappy boy, Mr. Clean. Solid handle also. This is a long finish. It's fun to watch, though. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Nuno, Bento. Like, solid work, my friend. Solid. It's just like, the container that you're shipping this thing in can use some tweaks, definitely, but really strong work, honestly. Yeah, fun. The ending was really fun. I was like leaning in more and more. Let's hear it again, you know? Okay, so first off, Tappy Boy, Mr. Clean. I kind of touched on that already, but the gist is if you have more than one profession, just think about the reason that a person is on your site. If they're on your site for photos, then it might be worth making a site for photography. Because then that person, that profession, everything there is relevant to their interests. They're not going to need to find the stuff that is relevant and related to the reason they're on your page. They can just look at everything. It's all relevant. And then over here is like the game audio page. And if I, a potential recruiting professional of some kind, am on that page and I'm adjudicating whether Nuno is a good fit for our team, I don't need to like stumble over the photos and over the film audio stuff. I can just say games things. Awesome. That's what I do, you know? And further, there's maybe like a subconscious risk. I didn't really mention it earlier, Nuno, but the subconscious risk is if you have films and games on the same page, then you might just be losing immediately to someone who's fully games focused. It's easy for someone on your page to say, oh, they have a variety of interests. Maybe they mostly like film audio and they're doing game stuff on the side, I guess, maybe, or something. Or at least their attention is split. But if it's a fully games page, they aren't even allowed the chance to have that subconscious feeling that may kind of sway their decision-making process in some way, right? There's just no downside to having everything focused in one place. You might as well do it. Okay. Everything is bloated, says Nuno. Do you think so? Do you has having your stuff, or has watching your stuff with an audience, with many others, has it shifted your own perspective on your own work? Because certainly that should happen. That often happens, for sure. So again, I came in blind. I've never seen this before, and I still have some questions, having seen it now, which is not great. I should have all my answers now, but I don't. So I'll tell you what's up. Fun intro. I love this right here in the middle. Super cool. Nice detail. Okay, so audio show reel. First off, okay, so presentation-wise, yes, it's long, definitely. You can shorten every single clip and just cut it in half easily, no problem. So audio show reel, Nuno Bento routine re-reveal. Like, I don't know what this means. And is it like you made this for the purposes of showing off your work or something? Complete redesign, backgrounds, effects, and Foley. I don't know what a routine re-reveal means. I've never seen these words before. So maybe just in the chat, please let me know like what this text means, and then we'll move on. Because typically routine is the game. Thanks, Joey. Okay, routine re-reveal. So I was seeing Nuno Bento routine re-reveal as like a single thing. Okay, so audio show reel hyphen Nuno Bento routine re-reveal. This is a very unusual and kind of confusing way of displaying this information. It's super confusing. This audio show reel, you don't need here at all. Nuno Bento, you don't need here. We know we're on your page. We don't need to see your name again. It's not relevant. We have it right here. We know we're watching your stuff. That box is checked, you know? So instead, typically you'd have like the name of the developer, right? So you'd have like the project routine by parentheses, developer something. Beneath that, yes, complete is like, I'd assume that yes, all this work is by you. So just sound redesign is plenty. Backgrounds, effects, Foley, like, again, I'd assume that was you. You could say like sound redesign, comma, Foley, being like, oh, they performed this, cool. But because yeah, it could be assumed that you pulled this stuff from a library or something and edited things together and made it all sound good. Comma, Foley is good. My biggest point of feedback for your text, there's so much fucking text. There's so much. And I feel like I was reading way more than I was watching what was happening up here and being focused in on your awesome work. That's the danger. You don't need to be telling us how you made all this stuff at all. Just let the audio work speak for itself. It's awesome. Your work is strong. I'm telling you right now, your work is very strong. And you've been doing this for a while, obviously, in the film space. You've found some achievement, some accomplishment in the film space. That's great. You are clearly capable of designing some really compelling and engaging work. It feels very alive. Like this here, this was the main reason I want to try to redesign. Like this is crazy to have in your reel. The goal was to make the robot sound more machine-like, both in movement and scream. I mean, ideally, if your goal is realized, it should just come across in the work, and I can focus on this awesome work. But you put all this work into the sound design, and you're like, no, read the text. It's like, just let us focus in on your awesome work, because it is just that. It's sick. Like, listen to this. It's awesome. That scream is so much fun. It's great. Super cool. I don't mean to, I hope I'm not like coming across as rude or something. I don't mean to be mean, but I feel more strongly because your work is good and it's being just hamstrung by just, again, like the container it's being shipped in. This stuff is just not, it doesn't need to be here. Just say routine, sound redesign. Done. That's it. You don't need anything else. Tight, clicky, detailed sounds. Like if we're watching this, yeah, we're going to know they're tight, clicky, detailed sounds. Made with, don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Again, you can say comma Foley. So I'll assume that you have like some metal and plastic things lying around that you click together and recorded and put into the thing. That's great. I don't at all care about how it was made in this moment. I might ask you in an interview, yo, that gun sounded great. What do you use for that? You did the Foley, right? Suddenly it's a conversation, right? You want that. Pink Noise and Thunder. With snap, heap, envelope, follower, leading, short delays, filters, and distortion, and OTT. Again, who cares? In this moment, who cares? Let us focus in on the work. All this stuff. Sound designed by. I hope so. But this is crazy too. So this thing, is this your project? Oh, brother is spelled wrong too. But if this is Building 847, it says Building 847 nowhere here. It just says sound design by Nuno Bento, released on Steam. Like this should be, the title of the project needs to be here. Excuse me. Also the line here is kind of strange. It's different than the rest. And yeah, I don't know. This yeah, there's like these are outlined letters for some reason. The rest is not. But all this stuff, again, the goal, this is more kind of like conceptual and like philosophical, but the goal of your reel should be to leave the viewer, the visitor to your website, leave them wanting to learn and see more. If you tell them all this stuff, like your brother, etc., if it just says Building 847 by like me, personal project, sound design, implementation, etc., Unity, like put this bullet point, the gist of this thing, I'd be like, oh, damn, this is your own thing? Because no one makes their own games. It's so uncommon to see someone like vying for a job in the game audio sphere, and they've made their own game and released on Steam. 200 copies sold or not, who cares? That's an enormous accomplishment. And having that just like bullet pointed there, being like, yeah, we made a thing. Check it out. That's awesome. That's so cool. And the fact that it sounds good is like just another feather in your cap, you know? So leaving just a bit of info there is just enough to get the point across. I'm gonna click through to your page and go learn more. It's just gonna happen because your stuff is good. If your stuff sounded like trash, then yeah, I'd close the page, but it doesn't. It sounds good. So please just boil it down to the bullet point list, nice and tight, and just trust that people will click through. They will want to learn more. You don't need to express every detail of your work in this reel. It's just not relevant, okay? Unsure. Game reveal trailer. Okay. Complete redesign. Yeah, again, just boil it down. The name is not relevant. We know who we're watching. And then No Evil. Why does it say No Evil? Is the game called No Evil or is it called Unsure? I don't know what this game is. That was confusing to me, but... Yeah, so the biggest thing is just like the length of this thing, the information you're trying to get across to us. You just have some confidence in your work because it's really, really strong. Okay, it's super strong. Clickable squares is pretty funny too. This is hilarious. This is that's like the the heading on the section. It's great. Yeah, clicking them. Here are your things. 7 Sorrows, Butcher's Crossing. Yeah. Very many things. Like this, the fact that your reel is so games focused, despite your film and Foley background. I use the word despite because it's just like it's typical for film people to keep working in film, right? So trying to move into the game space, you'll often have people who don't really have a concept of it, like what interactivity entails, like what kind of implications that brings to designing sound. The fact that you are doing all of this sound redesign work in the game space, that you built your own thing and released it on Steam, like that's huge. That is so indicative of the work that you're putting into this transition. You just don't need to be trying so hard. You know? This is sick. It's really, really impressive. It's like frustrating to me that your work isn't just being just thrown in front of us. Like, yeah, look, it's awesome. You know, you totally can. Like this question mark, stop it. Just get rid of all this stuff that implies like maybe there's a thought like, oh, it's like kind of cute to be sarcastically self-deprecating and stuff, deprecating, but like it's just this isn't the place for it. You know, it's one thing to be humble, but there's just signs all over your page that suggest like I'm not good enough. Like I'm not there. You know, I'm trying my hardest. Somehow I'm succeeding upwards by like making accidents nonstop. Like it's just not helpful. And you're so good. I don't even want to give you feedback on content because it's just solid. You know, this is great. I love that so much. So cool. And you have like a flow to it too. You like your film background, I suspect, is measuring into how you've edited this thing together, as far as like kind of the ebb and flow of the just like the video portion. Period. Just cut it down. Like, you know, if you just recut this thing to be half as long and with new titles and such, I would love to see it. I would love to give you feedback on a V2 because like you should be hired tomorrow. You're super good. Okay. Also, I don't really super know, having read your stuff, like what you are hoping to do. Who am I? Because you're like working on some stuff for yourself, but like, do you want to work in a AAA studio? Or do you want to freelance for teams, or what do you want to do? Because that's one thing as well that you could probably be a little more clear about. The redesigns in your reel, redesigns in general, serve to make certain, well, imply or like suggest certain things about your ambitions. For example, why would I put indie game redesigns in my demo reel if I don't want to work on indie games? So if you have various AAA redesigns in your reel, it can be an assumption, like a safe assumption can be that, yeah, you want to work on AAA games. Like you want to work on a game like Control or something like that, or Routine, right? So if that's the case, then you might consider making that a little more clear, like even in your bio, like currently looking for work and whatever. Yeah, there's room for that. Because if you're just like, I'm making my own stuff, then someone could easily just come to the conclusion that you are quite comfortable just making your own projects right now. You're good to go. So, yeah, I want to know more about about you in general, which is a very good thing to come away with. But it's taken some work to get there. You know, just being able to just focus the lens into the specifics of why you're good for a given job, send it off to somebody, and like they're gonna sit up and take notice. They're going to for sure. Okay, so just like, are you standing out? Well, yes, but kind of in some ways, absolutely, for the right reasons, and other ways like for the wrong reasons. So just tighten it up, please. Super good. Ugh. Like, I wanted to end earlier. I'm just not ending, so we're talking more about how good you are. We're taking too long here. I have a meeting in 10 minutes. I got to go. So, thank you all. Again, if you're at GDC, please come to my talk on Thursday at 4 p.m. Also, come to our audio mentorship roundtable at 10 a.m. on the Monday, 3rd floor Moscone up in the corner. Please do it. Please. It's going to be a very good time. I promise. It's always a good time. All right, install a debloater on your brain, please. Please do. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone, for hanging out, for everyone's wonderful feedback and thoughts, etc. And I'll see you in 2 weeks, right before GDC, yeah? Be the last one. Thanks a lot. Peace.